Hello friends, I hope you each had a wonderful 4th of July and maybe even found a little bit of time to relax on your own and enjoy the special holiday. I was reading in Isaiah this morning and came across the parable of the Song of the Vineyard. I wanted to share some thoughts from it with you. I will sing for the one I love a song about his vineyard. And then the parable goes on to speak of this vineyard owner and all the trouble he went to cultivate a beautiful vineyard. He put into it everything that was needed. And then it came time to harvest the grapes, but he didn't find any good ones, only bad fruit. And then the last of the parable gives us a little bit of interpretation. It says, "The vineyard of the Lord Almighty is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah are the garden of his delight. And he looked for justice, but saw bloodshed, for righteousness, but he heard cries of distress." And of course that reminded me of one of my favorite verses in all of Scripture, one that I ponder again and again in my life, and you may have as well. It's in Micah chapter 6 when it says, "He has showed you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." So my prayer for you, my continued prayer for you, is that in all of your work, that you never neglect the core of who you are. And I'm praying that God's justice and mercy and the humility of Christ is ever present in your life. How sad if after all that God has given us, that he would find really the basis of what comes out of our life to be bad fruit. None of us want that in our lives. You don't want that for the people you love. You don't want that for yourself. I don't want that for myself. Let's be good grapes. I'd like to also share with you some of our important announcements that are coming up at the centennial, the 100th centennial that's coming up. Many of you have registered to be here. That's just something that people are doing as they want to and as they have the means and time to do so. But I wanted everyone who's coming to know that on Thursday, August 7th, that our department is hosting lunch for all of our missionaries that are in town. It's going to be at Golden Corral from 11:30 to 1:30 down on South Glenstone. And I hope everyone's able to join with us and just visit while you're here in Springfield. Also, I wanted to update you on the June U.S. Missions Work Group report to the Executive Presbytery. You received an email from Brother Zali, but I wanted to give you a little bit of my personal perspective on that and my understanding. On June, the U.S. Missions Work Group presented a substantial report to the Executive Presbytery. And there was a lot of discussion about the report, and after that discussion, the Executive Presbytery decided to take no action on recommendations that were made. They are going to take a portion of the report and send it to the General Presbytery without recommendation and let them have an opportunity to react to and respond to the report as they desire. So that report is now going to the General Presbytery in August. It meets just before the centennial celebration begins. And that General Presbytery, you know, is made up of district superintendents. Every district has 2 or 3 representatives. There are other leaders from our movement that are part there. I will be there, and all the directors in U.S. Missions are General Presbyters. There will be probably about 300 people there to represent the General Presbytery. So at that point, I will be able to see the report and be able to hear myself, the interaction about that, and will certainly update you on what happens. And then finally, I want to remind everyone about our October gathering in St. Louis. Most of you have registered. I'm glad to see that. Appreciate you continuing to do and get that done if you haven't so far. And we look forward to spending a couple days there. Of course, we will talk about any ramifications out of the U.S. Missions Work Group, but also for a time of fellowship and connecting with one another and dreaming big and praying together about what God has for us to do in the United States. It's a busy summer, and I'm glad for the opportunity to connect with you on a couple different levels in the near future. God bless.